Hope y'all are in the mood for a little trouble early in the week. Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. I'm YouTube's and your favorite devil's advocate, Jen. You can reach me on all social media platforms, On the Block with Jen, on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, On the Block with Jen at Gmail. If you want to contact us for any reason, that's the suggestion box. You can also throw topic suggestions in there, and we'll decide what to dissect, okay, what's best for myself and the panel. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If it's your first time here, hi, where the hell you been? But you're here now, great. I'm losing my voice a little bit, as you can hear. So I don't know. Maybe I could turn up the mic a little bit so you guys can hear me. Okay. Give me a mic test if you can in the audience. And without another further, let me bring up the always lovely and talented Lily, who we just can't do the block without. Hello, Mama.
Hello. You sound great.
I do, because I feel like my voice, I don't know how I'm losing my voice. I think it's because I went to sleep late, because I'm like, I wasn't yelling. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, the mic sounds good. But no, you can tell that, because my voice goes when I'm tired.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because I'm like, what is this? I sound like I smoke cigarettes.
And drive a truck.
Right? And get out the way.
Drive an 18-wheeler for a living. I got to do my deliveries.
I wish I did. They make some good money.
Don't they though?
They make some good money. But it's what's hilarious. My dad used to tell me to get my CDL and do truck driving. I was like, Dad, please be quiet. I was like, I'm not getting a CDL. I'm not driving trucks for a living, but thank you.
I've contemplated it. Can you believe that?
Of course I can believe it. It's free. Yeah. It's a good job. If you don't have, children or a spouse, I think it's awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think I'm that good a driver.
That's the thing. I hate driving. I gave up driving. I voluntarily gave up driving in 2017, and I have not missed it one day since. It was one of the best decisions I've made in life.
And especially being from New York, people outside of New York don't get that. I'm like, you don't need cars in New York City unless you live like in Albany. Like literally the subway or the bus is a stone's throw away from wherever you live.
I live by the A train of all trains. So it's the express train. I live a block away. Like,
right.
I'm not getting in anybody's car. Like, it takes me way longer to get to anywhere in a car than outside of a car. So it's counterproductive, actually. And then the neighborhood I live in is counterproductive to even own a car.
Okay. So. How you doing, Simeon? Welcome.
Yes. Hey, Simeon.
Hey.
I see us on TV. We look great on TV.
Yeah. Do you see the trouble I'm starting tonight? Here we go.
Ooh, boy, yes, you are about to be public enemy number one.
Yes, and it's okay. I like it there. It's more exciting than being agreeable. It really is more exciting than being agreeable. I know a lot of people push for women to be agreeable, but it's so much more exciting when you're not agreeable. Now, I wouldn't recommend that for my girls that are looking to get married. You go on ahead and be as agreeable as you could possibly be. I'm talking about me, okay?
Yeah, boy. Yeah, it gets hard out here.
George Cook, what you know about that, George Cook? What you know about that, Georgie?
Where is George Cook at besides being in the chat?
He said, fight the power. What you know about PE? I see you. It's funny, I shared a meme that Chuck D from Public Enemy shared earlier, and it says, stop co-signing dumb shit just because you want people to like you.
I saw that. Yeah, I like that one.
I was like, amen.
Because people will do it. They will walk you right off a cliff.
Yeah, and it's the FOMO thing, like it is not age specific. Like you see all kinds of people online just co-signing really corny, ratchet shit because they don't want to be left out. They don't want to be the person that doesn't like that celebrity that everybody's talking about. So it's like, yeah, I like that song. No, you fucking don't. You don't want to be left out because people are afraid of standing alone.
They really are. But see, I don't know. I can understand it more so as a kid or a teen or even in the 20s, right? But when you start hitting 40s on up, that's pathetic.
Absolutely. Kids, I understand. They don't know themselves yet, so they're like, I'll just go with the crowd. Them kids that are like, fuck everybody are very rare. Very, very rare.
Very
Yeah.
rare. Yeah.
Don't I know it? Absolutely, George Cook. Chuck D had one of the best voices in hip hop, so distinct, like you knew it was Chuck on the mic.
Yeah, and he said that they had something to say. They always like that's the thing. That's what I miss the most when I look at where music is at now. I just miss the variety. I
Right.
just want variety. That's it. I want a little low vibrational. I'm not saying get rid of
Oh
my
my
twerking
God,
music.
yes.
Come on now. I'm not
I love
saying
I
that.
love me some trap. I love me some gangster music. One of my favorite freaking songs that gets me going is Ice Cube and Little John, Real Nigga Roll Call. Like that gets me
Right.
jumping. Too short, you know what I'm saying? Like that gets me jumping. But you made a great point, Lily, because back in the day, talking about, listening to Little Kim talking about making Sprite cans disappear and fucking and sucking, it didn't bother me because we had such a variety. We had Queen Latifah, we had MC Light, we had so it was like good. But now it's concentrated, like stripper rap, hoe rap is concentrated. So anything, too much of anything, you're gonna get sick of. So it's not that you're hating, but it's just like if they're trying to feed you avocado every day, you're like, I fucking hate avocado. Now I
Right.
fucking hate avocado. Where before you loved your avocado next to your little salad and your little, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
croutons and your little spinach. Now it's just like avocado, avocado, avocado. Now I don't fucking want it. I don't
I
want it.
don't want the shit. How many
Yeah.
ways can we hear about your pussy? How many ways? I'm just saying. Like,
It's pussy rap.
it's just pussy
We
rap.
gotta hear it. It's wet. It's friendly. If it's just it's much too much. Much
Yes,
too
give me
much.
your money. Fuck these niggas. Like all that. I'm just like, George, I was like, where's George? Like, what's the tea?
Hey, what's going on, ladies?
Hi, how
Nothing
are
much.
you on
No,
this
Chuck
Tuesday?
D had it's unmistakable. He had that kind of voice for a white boy to
Mm-hmm.
pull me in, and like
Mm-hmm.
it's like that. He had this grit and this just this. I mean, just I don't know how to describe it, but I think y'all are feeling me. It was
He
just
like E.F. Hutton.
Yeah, we know.
oh yeah, and at the time I was like didn't quite get what they were saying, but as I got older, started looking around, kind of started seeing what the government was doing, and I was like, you know what, he's got a point, you know,
No, Chuck D was
pretty,
a force.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, excellent, and I'm
Elvis
curious,
was
like
a
there was
hero.
another dude y'all might not like him because it was that guy, um, oh, Young MC. That guy had some catchy lyrics too. But I think that may have been a little bit too pop, maybe for your sensibilities, Jen, just kind of like listening to you.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was pop. I was really young. Like I was young when he came out, so it was
Mhm.
like it appealed to me. But then it was dated 3 years
Right.
later when I was like, oh, what was I dancing to?
Yeah. I mean, the thing
Right.
I loved about his stuff was it was really well crafted, the words and how that everything
Right.
went together. I mean, he didn't have to drop F bombs all over the place. I mean, to make it rhyme, or to make it impact. And then when I remember when NWA came out, I remember that they caused such a problem. They went to Detroit and the cops like try to put them in jail and all that.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember.
And a lot of what they said, I know it, like Chuck D, all them are primarily talking to an African American audience and all that, but the principles about power and how it works and all that, it applies no matter what race we're talking about. It's like he's talking about political science math. it
Hmm.
it doesn't matter if it's the black community, doesn't matter who, you know and it was like I really had a lot of respect for that dude and what in his work.
I
And
mean, we
Yeah.
had quite a few rappers that didn't curse. I mean, we really did have a good variety. Like I did it was 2 years ago. I did a children's and teens workshop.
Mm-hmm.
I got together. It was me, an actor, a singer, and a dancer. And so we had 4 classes for the kids. And these kids actually go to an actual school of arts during the year. So this was like a summer program type of situation. So I was, of course, doing the modeling class, and my class required music and, you know, the runway and all of that stuff. So I wanted to play something that they could relate to, but that was appropriate for me to play for them in school. That was so hard to find. Even with the lyrics cut up, you can still tell what they're talking about.
Right.
You
Exactly.
got to play. You had to play Will Smith.
Pretty much. And they probably looking like, who's this? What's you know,
Right.
these kids, they're not, you know, you got to kind of meet them where they're at.
Absolutely.
So I couldn't bring my music in. Like, I had to find something that they could relate to. And so I think, like, I played Doja Cat and Nicki Minaj Say So like 1,000 million trillion times, because that was the only song that like was everyone could relate to. It had the beat for the runway.
Right.
And even when you cut up the cuss words, it still sounds like a full song.
Right. You remember, I'm sure you all do remember Cool Mo D.
Mhm.
I mean, I believe it or not, how I got introduced to hip hop was through another white boy, and his mother and them, they listened to like soul music, all that, and he put on the Sugar Hill Gang, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is pretty good. Just the way the word, of course, that was like back then. That's like, you know, what is it? What is it? You know, I can't remember them, but I got the beat in my head. But who it is, I could probably something delight. I remember.
Rappers Delight.
Rappers Delight.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And I remember him. And I want to tell you, a lot of people don't realize this, but probably one of the, I don't want to say the first hip hop, because Jen, you know, I've learned something the other day through some of your videos. This stuff goes back to the early 70s, really. But the thing where it's that would definitely work in hip hop if you listen to it is AC/DC's Back in Black. If you listen to the lyrics, all you have to do is put somebody like Chuck D or somebody like that behind it.
Really, I think Jay-Z did it. Somebody did it. Like they did stuff from that album and turned it hip hop. I think someone did it. I'll look it up and get back to you. And somebody in the chat may know.
Yeah, but it was like, I listened to that song. I was like, yeah, now it works obviously as a hard rock song, but I was like, I said, really? This is just this is hip hop. He's talking about, you know, how bad he is and this and that. Nobody's going to put him, you know, you know, I was like, this is like hip hop, you know, but coming from an Australian hard rock band, you know. I thought it was, but
music is universal. Good music.
Yeah, and like who I really liked, and I listened to his stuff. He is so talented. Is Bruno Mars?
Yes,
that dude.
Oh, I love me some Bruno.
Yes.
Them tickets, though. Them tickets.
I'm gonna need to meet Bruno. We need to spark up a friendship or something. His sister or his nanny or somebody.
Like no, them tickets are insane. They're insane.
When he came out and did the Super Bowl,
ridiculous.
You remember that when he got on the Super Bowl the first time, he lit it up.
Oh yeah, no, we're big fans of Bruno. We know all Bruno. Like people don't even know he's half Puerto Rican.
Yeah, I heard about it. There was a controversy about that. Imagine that, right? You know, about about cultural appropriation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruno, what I like about what Bruno did, he brought back these elements that were missing, that have been missing. I mean, the beats, the lyrics, the melodies,
the artistry, just the artistry, because there's entertainers and then there's artists, and Bruno is an artist.
Yes. Like he was, I mean, when he came, I was just like, oh my God, especially when he came out with 24 Karat Magic, that album, I played that album to death. I was like, oh my God. And just to watch him perform everything, his performances, everyone in the background, like he gave you a show. He gives you a show.
Oh yeah. I don't want to put him up there with Prince, but he's
I don't even like to compare like that, because Bruno is Bruno. He's doing his thing for his, and it's unfair to compare anyone from now to back then anyway.
Right. Yeah.
It's never
two different worlds.
Right. Yeah,
but two different worlds.
I say this. He could have made it, no doubt, in the 80s. No doubt. He would have been he would have been on the charts.
He could have made it in the 70s.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
knows how to play an instrument. He actually knows how to play
He's
multiple instruments. Yeah.
born for it. I mean, 5 years old, little tiny Bruno performing. You know what I mean? Thank you so much for the super chat, Carlos Toscano. How are you, hermano? Hope you are well. Yeah. So speaking of music, have you guys seen Swarm? The Swarm on Amazon.
No.
Lily.
I've been seeing buzz about it.
Lily.
What's the Cliff Notes version of it, Jen?
The Cliff Notes version is basically kind of like satire parody of dramedy Beyonce and her fans.
Oh, this
The
is gotta be
way
good.
the way her fans act, I mean the ridiculousness of her fans.
Yeah, it's like the Swarm. They call them the Swarm. Okay.
Right,
Oh,
the
this
Swarm, the
this
Beehive.
should be good.
Lily. Watch it past the first, second episode because the first, second episode, a lot of people are quitting after like the first, second episode. And I almost quit. I was like, what the fuck is this? But then I was like, I trust Donald Glover. Okay. He's a phenomenal writer, actor, comedian, singer. So I was like, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm parlay and sit. No, it's freaking. And he's so unapologetic. Like before every episode, he puts up this like a warning, like all of this is true. Anybody it may remind you of is intentional.
Yes.
So his disclaimer is like, yeah, I'm saying this shit with my chest. This is how I see y'all. This is
Right.
what you look like. And he puts it up before every single episode, but it shows the ridiculous nature of fanatics in general. Like how much, like how stupid they are. I can't even think of another word, but just the stupidity behind it of how they treat these celebrities and what they would do for these celebrities. And so this is of course it's a caricature
Yeah.
of that, but when you watch it you're like, no, that is how you act.
Right.
That is how you act.
I'm gonna tell you when I realized that it was insane was the advent of YouTube and when music videos started really hitting YouTube hard. And I've always been into music videos up until, recently, of course, we don't care about them anymore. But you know what I'm saying? So I got into this nostalgia mood, and anyone who knows me knows that my favorite artist in the whole wide world is Cuckoo Mariah. Cuckoo Cray Mariah.
Uh-huh.
I love Mariah. And
Are you a lamb? Are you a lamb?
What? Yes. Okay. But no. But listen to this. I'm thinking up until YouTube, I'm Mariah's biggest fan.
Oh.
Oh, that's what I thought. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, no.
Oh, no. Until I went to my first Mariah Carey comment section.
Oh, no.
Oh, that proved that I thought I didn't know where I fell out in the heart because I'm too sane to be anyone's biggest fan.
Yeah.
Like, all you have to do is say, I love this song, but that one part when
you said but? You had the audacity to say but after you like something?
They was threatening people's children, mothers, neighbors. I was like, oh my God, why did someone's child gotta die? Because she just said but. Like, I was like, this is crazy. Like, they were dead. Like, it was just, when I saw that for the first time, I was like, okay, I'm too sane. I don't even think I'm a fan anymore. I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, they just stole my identity. I'm too sane to be anyone's fan.
Yeah, like it's such a turn off, and it's like you're enjoying the music, you're enjoying the artistry. You have a right to be like, I love this album, that album not so much, But they will not allow it. In this series, it's like it's a page turner. Like you want to see what happens next and what happens, and the acting is superb. Like the way Donald Glover, cast that show, superb. Amazing. The lead actress, ooh, in the beginning she got on my nerves. I was like, I can't fucking but then as it goes on, you're like, oh, I get it.
I must say there's two fandoms that are the worst to me, but this one that I'm about to name is worse because of their fearless leader, and that's the Barbs. The Barbs are freaking I don't even know.
They are rabid.
Yeah. They're mad, like they're just mad, they're rabid there. But then it trickles down from the top because she's so nasty and they do her bidding work for her. The difference between her and Beyonce's is more passive aggressive. she doesn't step in, knowing that if she steps in, she can stop some of this stuff.
Oh yeah,
She just doesn't do it.
Of course.
She turns a blind eye. But Nicki literally sicks her fans on the people. Like she literally sicks them like rabid animals.
And they do it.
And they do it every time. But now it's just crazy. But she started within the last couple of years, was because if you remember, Nicki was the only one for a long time. She dominated. Now you and I know why. It wasn't organic.
Of course. No.
Okay. And so Cardi broke through and let the other girls through, right? Which I kept telling Nicki through the TV and through the phone. Nicki, I was like, the best way for longevity and to, remain on top is to usher new girls in and validate them so they'll validate you as they come up. Well, Cardi listened to me because Nicki didn't want to listen to me. So then Cardi came in and started ushering new girls in. And then that's when Nicki wanted to be like, oh, I think I should listen to Lily, through the TV and through the phone. And so, but she started inorganically doing it, right?
Right.
And she started bringing girls in, but not because she wanted them to win or because she was really listening to Lily. What she was trying to do was bring them in and turn them against Cardi.
Right.
And then they would do Nicki's bidding, and then Nicki would ditch them and then go to the next big thing. She did every single one that she's done a collaboration, because she wasn't doing no collaborations before Cardi. I think Cardi was her first female rapper collaboration, and they made that happen. Like they pretty much orchestrated that to try to say like, oh, they're not beefing, they're okay.
You know how crazy it is to like everyone who's dealt with you for like 10 years says you are a nasty motherfucker. Everyone. Like from makeup teams to stylists to people who write for you to people who've dated you. Like everyone says you are a nasty motherfucker.
Did I ever tell you the story about my ex when he did security for her, the gangster? He comes in here one day and he was like, babe, I just worked with this female rapper. Now I'm not going to tell you who, because I'll get into that another day. But he was actually doing security for the other rapper, and so she was there on set, so he had to do take care of everybody, make sure everybody was okay. And he was like, she is the devil. Now this is a gangster, like not play cosplay gangster. And so I'm like, I've never heard him say that, because he's very, even though he's a gangster, when it comes to women, he's very tender. He's very gentleman, So for him to say that, I was just like, who is that? I was like, is that a new rapper? He said, no, she's been around a while. I said, okay, only person I know that gets that label every time someone meets her is Nicki Minaj. He says, yeah, that sounds familiar. He says, can you put it on the TV? So I put it on the TV. He goes, that's her. And so he started telling me everything that she did that day. I think he had like 3 days with her. But like you said, I know her. I've known people to do her makeup, her hair, her wardrobe, security. I mean, I have never heard not one person say anything nice about her.
Very, very nasty woman. I hope we never cross paths, because my tolerance is low to no.
So Nicki Minaj has some interpersonal relationship issues, evidently.
Oh yeah, that's putting it lightly.
Very lightly.
That's putting it lightly. Yes, just a nasty disposition, very entitled. You know what I mean? Very insecure, very self-serving, very selfish. Like she's not, you know what I mean? She doesn't care to uplift other women, and not that she has to, but don't be the enemy of them either. Like just leave them be.
Right.
But she's constantly, even at this age, after having a child, she's still like throwing jabs at them to this day. Like she can't get on a stage to this day and talk about, oh yeah, you guys, who was here before me. She calls them like mini me's, and she's like, everybody wants to be her and everybody's copying off of her. I'm like, your whole shtick is Lil' Kim. Like your entire shtick. Like it's old news. Like Lil Wayne and everybody like let the cat out the bag that they literally modeled you after Lil' Kim with the wigs and everything. But for some reason now she's like, no, I pioneered the look. So she's off, very, very nasty disposition, married a registered, convicted rapist, not a rumored rapist, like a
Does she have a
convicted.
kid?
Yes, had a kid with him. Some scrub from what is it, Queens or
Jamaica
Brooklyn,
Queens.
Jamaica
Jamaica
Queens.
Queens.
And what's interesting, what's up, Necessary Evil? Hit the like for me, everybody. And what's interesting is that this, I look at her and I'm like, you've been around the world. Nicki Minaj has literally been around the world, around, the who's who of the what's, right? For a decade plus. And she circled back to some scrub in New York City who's a convicted rapist who has no money,
Nothing.
baby mamas, drama, and that is who she made her husband.
Mm-hmm. But
So
she's
that goes to show
I was just about to say.
who she is.
Yeah. Because you look at who she had before him. Every man that she's ever had has been beneath her. Because that's how she likes everybody. She wants everybody beneath her. Because when like the number one, besides being evil, the number one word that people use for her is insecure. It's like she is one of the most insecure people you'll ever meet in your life.
I hear that a lot.
I mean, and I also call her a sore winner. Because she'll win and be mad because she didn't win more than she won. Like, the woman is crazy.
Yeah. I hope I never run into her because I don't have that tolerance for those type of people. And I'm from New York too, bitch.
No, and I'm telling you, some of the stories that I'm talking about, firsthand stories, like not through something and I believe these people. And one story in particular, if that was done to me, I wouldn't be here to talk about it because
it's not. She's just it's not necessary. But
I don't need it.
I think that's a great phrase, a sore winner, because she's on top. She's been on top for a while. I mean, before all other stripper rappers joined the fray, but she was on top for a while, for a long time, almost like a damn decade, because they weren't letting any other women into the rap game
because of her.
She was it for a decade, and then Cardi and all of them, rose to fame, and she didn't take it very well at all.
At all. She went down. I mean, she became so unhinged when Cardi came out.
Gross. Even her manner of speaking, it's just, she's gross to listen to. Very, very low vibe.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell her if I ever met her. I'd be like, you're low vibe.
You're so not high vibrational.
You're so low vibe. Yeah, but anyway, that show, The Swarm, is an amazing depiction of these crazed fanatics, these very silly, crazed fanatics. They don't know these celebrities. And the way they walk and talk and react to them. This show it's really good. Donald Glover did his thing, but I'm a fan of his writing.
I am going to check this out starting tonight.
Yeah, it's and it's creepy too. It's great writing. It's great writing. Whatchamacallit? All right, chat, hold me down. Let's get into it. Starting trouble early in the week. Do men set themselves up for dating disaster? But we're going beyond money. We're going beyond money. We're not just going to talk about money. I know men think, everything that women want, it's always synonymous with money, right? It's always money, right? Regarding dating, right? That's why there's so many wars about, can I take you on a coffee date? Or I'm not spending $300 on a date. Or I'm not spending $200 on a date, right? It's always about money. But there are the things. So Lily brought this topic to my attention. I thought it was interesting. Are men setting themselves up for dating disaster? Are men setting themselves up? Are they not qualified? Is dating a privilege that you just don't qualify for? What do you think before I get into my
thing? Well, yes, I think that dating is definitely a privilege. It is not a requirement. I do. I think that there should be some other things that should be taken care of. Now, let's not confuse dating with fucking. Now, I encourage you to get you some, okay? Because that just keeps the murder rate down.
Lily, fucking costs money too.
Yeah, but it's enough ladies out here giving out free samples. You know, so we can, yeah, so we can utilize them. They have their space and their place in the society. So that's why I'm not going to be fully off, you know, take them all away, because that it gets dangerous. You know, you see what's going on right now. There's a lot of sexless men out here.
Okay.
So we definitely want them to have their sex. We however way you can get it, sir. But now when we start talking about dating, that's a whole different situation, because now what are we dating for, right? Are we dating toward a goal? What's this goal? Like, is it for like a long-term relationship? Because some people don't, not everyone wants marriage, right? But they may be looking for their partner. They may be looking for their forever. Doesn't have to necessarily come in the form of marriage, okay? But this is the thing. We know that, let's get the money off the table from the job. Yes, we know that women are hypergamous, okay? So I think we've already established that. And so it's best to try to get your money up. And we're not talking to our 20-something-year-olds. We get it. It's difficult. You're trying to get in your, you know, but after a certain age and you want to start dating, now it's like women have expectations, because she should have been doing some things for herself as well. So if she's doing some things for herself and she has a lifestyle that she has created, then she's going to be looking for something to either match or exceed that. Preferably, a lot of them want to exceed it. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Just give me some advice.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes, right? And so, but then once we get the money thing in, because I've been in that situation where I was with somebody who thought that, oh, I got that part covered, so I'm good. I don't need, you know, any type of work on myself to be prepared for anything else. But now we're dealing with the emotional stability, right? Like, if dating somebody, have you ever dated somebody who wasn't emotionally mature? Oh my God, like, just like arguments for no reason. Like some of the arguments that come with someone that's emotionally unstable or emotionally immature, you know. So if you might have some mental issues, take your medicine. Figure out what medicine you need to be on before you start dating people. Okay. Then we're talking about mental, right? Dealing with your mental. Like, there's so many different areas that I think people need to work on before they start trying to bring all this stuff in and acting like just plopping stuff on people's lap, like, fix me. No one's gonna fix you, right? Like, we should be at a certain place first before. I know I did that for myself. So I'm speaking this from experience, because I tried it the other way, and then I realized that subconsciously I am looking for someone to fix me, right? Subconsciously. I didn't realize it until I did the work, because I was like, what's something's up. Something's wrong here. Something's wrong. Oh, I'm something. I'm
what's wrong.
Yeah, I'm something. Okay.
It's me.
It's me. Okay.
It's not you, it's me.
Let me step away. Let me step away for a minute. Let me hop out the dating pool for a second.
Right.
Don't be afraid to hop out the dating pool. Okay.
Please
Dry
don't.
off. Okay. And go to the gym. You know, the mental gym, the emotional gym, workout, and then come back with your new Speedo, and then you be ready to hop in, and now you're a better prospect. And now you're better set up for some of the things that women are going to be expecting when you're dating, because I feel like a lot of men are just jumping into these relationships and really setting themselves up for failure, and then want to blame the woman, and then they go to the next woman and do the same thing, and go to the next woman and do the same thing, and then now it's all women. But if you can just take a step back like Lily did and see what's really wrong, you might have better results. I don't know. What you think, George? Yeah. Or Lily, or Jen?
I believe, if you don't mind, Jen, I'll go ahead and jump in. There's a lot I agree with you there, Lily, and especially the part about them getting themselves right, not just about the money, but just about in their headspace up here and getting all that straight. Because if, you know, they need to be able, men need, when I say they, men need to be able to see clearly in that relationship to determine if she's the one or not. And kind of like if they're going from woman to woman to woman, and it's always the woman's fault, you know, what's the common denominator here? Okay. And so with all that said, now I think the same thing you just said about getting your head right, all that applies also to women,
Mhm.
obviously. And you hit on one point I thought was really good, is that after a certain point in your career, women naturally, understandably, expect a man to be, especially if she's got a certain lifestyle, she's going to want that dude to be at the same level or higher. And so, you know, I've had the opportunity to date doctors, and one of the things, reason it didn't work out, was because I wasn't I wasn't up there in their salary rank. We were fine and all that, but still, it was kind of like too with me, and I saw it. It's kind of like when you're not right, the situation isn't right for either one of you.
Mhm.
You're kind of like, I just don't relate to you. You want to go to the country club, and I want to go to the range shooting. You want to ship champagne and caviar, whatever, all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you're just flying in, you travel in different circles, in circles in which I don't necessarily want to be a part of. Not that I can't relate to them, but I just don't want to be part of it.
Right.
And so then I was like, okay, and we broke it off, and that we were both cool about it, and everything. But I think that's really important. Dudes need to see where they are in terms of like income, and then look at, are they dealing with any problems with, like, maybe if they had a bad relationship with their mother. If they had a bad relationship with their mother, it's going to definitely carry over into their relationships with other women.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they need to get that straightened out. Don't, like you said, Lily, don't even bother. Don't even do that, So, um, like I said, I mean, I can't really find anything to disagree with you about, Lily, on that. What you just said was just really um, pretty straightforward, good stuff. So, that's what I got.
Well, I have something for my married people later on before the show ends. The people who are thinking about getting married, I came up with a marriage plan for everyone because you all are just not, you all are fucking it up. Okay,
Oh, I love
so
it.
yes, so we're gonna get to that later. I have something
Hmm.
for those who are thinking about possibly getting married. We're starting with dating right now.
Thank you for the super chat, Don Levon. Don Levon says most men think that the status, power, and money are the key attributes that makes a man attractive to women, but they leave out the most important things like self-confidence, sense of self-worth, and acts of courage. So, Don took the words right out of my mouth, because what I was going to say was there's a lot of even Andrew Tate's message. There's a lot of bravado and go work out in the gym and get your money up and bitches want you. There's a lot of emphasis on just get your money up and get some muscles, right? If you want it easy, right? If you want it super, super easy and you don't care where the relationship goes and you just want women to be attracted to you and like your car and your muscles and your money, then by all means, it is imperative that you get your money up and you go get your muscles. But if you're dating with intent for long-term relationships or marriages, you have to develop other things as a man, because there are things that you can develop and we won't care that you're not tall, you don't have muscles, and you don't have a lot of money.
Right.
But the thing I see with men is that they don't want to work on shit. They don't want to develop those other skills or talents or attributes or interests. And they don't want to have muscles and be tall, have money. They just expect women to accept them as is. And I think, going back to Lily's initial question, are you setting yourself up for disaster? Yeah, you are. You pretty much are, if you're constantly expecting women to, for lack of a better term, ride or die with you or put up with you or take you as is because you're a man. No, that it's not enough. You have to develop other things. And I'm like, I don't understand why men don't get that there's so many other things that can make them dynamic aside from money and muscles. Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, we love
Yay,
it.
icing on the cake. But even when women are looking for husbands, that's not high on the list. It's great. It's great hey, if you got it and you want to go work out and look good, great. But there are other attributes that we really, really, really like need you to have for long-term relationships. Now, of course, it differs here and there depending on the woman you're speaking to, but the main ones are still the main ones. So I agree with this comment for sure. Confidence, self-confidence, sense of self-worth, acts of courage. Like, there are things that we admire men for, and it's not just having money and muscles in a car. You know what I mean?
That confidence thing, when we sense that lack of confidence and we start losing confidence in you, because
really?
we love security. And I'm going to speak from me coming from a place where I've always felt secure by men. I don't expect nothing less. And that is both financially and like knowing that the home is safe and knowing that I'm safe. Like, it's because I just would never forget that feeling when I realized when in my longest relationship that we were losing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have a plan. He didn't. And here I am, and I'm sick with cancer. And I'm like, oh, wow, I am your plan. Okay.
Ouch. Desmond, I don't know if you're referring to what I said. I'm not sure. I didn't say getting money and muscles was easy. I said if a man wants it easy. If he wants it easy, he can just go on and get some money and get some muscles, right? And then the women are going to want him because he's attractive, but will they want him long term, right? So that's what I know. It's not easy to get muscles. I go to the gym and it's fucking hell. It is hell. You're in pain all fucking week, okay? You have to eat a certain way and sleep a certain way. It is fucking hell. So it's not easy. So that's not what I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to say that it was easy at all.
Yeah, I was going to say it's sufficient. It's sufficiency versus necessary. Money and muscles are necessary, but they're not sufficient to put you over the line. So,
right.
And Jen, to your point, you said this a lot on past shows about men want to be leaders in the relationship. Well, then you say, damn it, then be the leader. And so all these things you're talking about, I was just thinking about that. It's all about, if you want to be the leader in the relationship, you've got to have these other things. And Lily, you hit the nail on the head. I was too young to understand this, I guess, or didn't want to understand it. But I had one lady, not the female love mentor, but another girl in college, sit down and tell me, she says, look, George, it's all about like this. Women want guarantees or / security. That's what they want. And I was like, well, all that stuff. But now I get it, especially if we want them to, to be submissive, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to sit over in the passenger seat, they gotta know that you can fucking drive the car,
right?
And you can drive it well, and you're not going to kill them in the process of you acting the fool, right? So. So that, I mean, and also I'll tell you this, where a lot of the things I've noticed on in the manosphere, that space, when they start putting the women up there that the problem children, I notice a lot of them are under 30. Okay, that the ones that they put up, and what I'm getting at is a maturity issue. Where they're wanting the dude that makes all the sixes, and here they are, they're not even nowhere near that, and being qualified for that.
Right.
But then, it really, I see a lot less of it in women who are in their 30s and 40s. And the reason is they've grown up, right? So for me, I wouldn't mind dating a woman in her 20s, but I always think about that maturity factor. And so for me, it's like sweet spots like mid to late 30s. A couple of reasons for that. But number one is they hit their sexual peak in their late 30s. So two, but they've been around a little bit, and they know something about
I don't know, George.
I'm about to say, because baby, just saying.
Oh boy.
Just saying.
Oh, you were a thoroughbred even before then.
No, I'm talking about
Even now.
Not
Oh,
on now.
I'm like, baby, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But you know what though, George? Something you said sparked something. You know, we hear all these complaints about women not being feminine enough, right? And it's like, do you really think a lot of these women want to go into their masculine bag? Do you understand what happens to a woman who has to go into her masculine bag with a man laying next to her or sitting next to her or up on her?
She gets resentful.
Woo, that resentment right there. And then what happens is that masculine energy gets turned towards you because she didn't want to have to go there. See, that's a place that a woman knows that it's reserved for her when she's single. Not with a man laying next to her
and
or sitting on top of her.
And Lily, it gets ugly.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying that it gets ugly. I know I've been the most, and I can admit it, you know, I don't give a damn, but I've been the most evil, vitriolic, just horrible human being.
Because you didn't feel secure.
When I mean, lashing out like a mama tiger, like, get the fuck away from my world, from my life. You are destroying me. You're bringing me down. You're making me, you know, morph into something I don't even want to be. I don't want to be standing in front of men and wearing the pants. Like, I don't like this here. And I start lashing out until the relationship is done. Not to be confused with a man that is a protector, a provider, and then there's something that happens. Either he gets sick or he loses his job or something like that. But even that type of man feels a ways about not being able to provide. And you can see that type of man versus a man that's like, oh, we're good. Yeah. So you paying for it this week? Am I what, sir? What? So going back to what Lily said, baby, Lily, when you were talking about we can tell when a man's not confident or losing his confidence, it is like blood in the water, honey.
Baby.
It is like blood in the water, and we can smell it from miles away. Even a man that we thought before was a certain level of masculine or quote unquote alpha, for lack of a better term. And it's like we start seeing him and getting to know him, and we're like,
Is it? Well, let me ask you this, Jen, and I think you mean when you talk about he's losing his confidence, you're not talking about a dude who has something happens. He either gets fired from a job and his confidence is temporarily shaken, but you're not talking about the dude who says, I gotta fucking pull this out, and then he fucking nuts up and he goes and does it, and like gets another job, whatever the deal is. You're not talking about that dude. You're talking about the dude who wallows in his self-pity.
Yes.
All that kind of stuff, right?
That's the guy I'm talking about. The guy that's having, you know what I mean, his confidence gets shaken, or he loses his job, or he went out on a venture and lost a lot of money. Honey, that's my specialty.
I'm always saying, that's what we're here for.
That's my specialty. Right. Like when men talk about, you got to talk life into me. Right? No, your mama was supposed to talk life into you, right? I tweak. I'm a wife or a girlfriend. I tweak. I don't build men. Okay? I tweak them. I don't build men. I'm not the army. I don't build men, or I don't make men. I tweak them. So it's actually, you know, our specialty. You know, that's when the femininity kicks in, when our man's confidence is shaken and we're like, no, this is who you are, honey. Like, don't let them people at that job X, Y, and Z. I've seen what you could do. I know what you could do. We are not going to sit in this. You know what I mean? That's when we come in, so to speak, to the rescue for a man. That's our duty, our obligation, our job. The problem is that men think that you're supposed to be like that at hello. And I've been with that man who wallowed in his self-pity, and all his girlfriends cheated on him, and, you know, his parents didn't leave him enough money, and his sister thinks that he's X, Y, and Z, and his brother thinks he's X, Y, and Z, and his kids don't understand. Like, it's just skin crawling, right? But when you meet somebody, they have their representative, right? And then you're thinking, oh, okay, this guy he's just having some hard times. He's just down on some hard times. Who am I to look down on somebody that's down on a hard time? We all have hard times. And then you get to know them. You're like, oh, this wasn't a hard time. This is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it is. But see, it takes age and experience to get there, because that going like that ride or die type thing, that Bonnie and Clyde was exciting when I was younger, baby. It was enticing. I was like, oh yes, I got his back. I'm here. Bonnie.
Did you ever see my skit? Every time I ride, I died. Every time I try to ride, I died. Like every time I rode, I died. Every time I try to ride, I died.
Typically, if you don't die, well, you still gonna die, because the thing is, the ride or die usually don't. If you're going for the ring or being the girl forever, she don't usually be it.
Yeah,
it's usually not her. We can look at Biggie and Little Kim. Little Kim was his ride or die. That woman went through it with him. She came from the block with him. He meets Faith Evans, who was more palatable, and 2 months later, he's married to her, and she's got all his freaking riches and glory after he died. Like it was a guy who taught me that when I was in my late 20s. He said, "Let me tell you something. The ride or die never becomes the wife. The ride or die is always going to remain the ride or die, and then he's going to get a main chick. I'm letting you know. That's what we do."
And even if she becomes the wife out of pity or obligation or trying to lock her down, when that other woman comes that ain't having it, his dick is going to get harder than it's ever been.
Right.
That is human nature. It's not even evil. It's not malicious.
No,
I know a lot of women try to villainize men like, oh, you were with me when you were down there. It is human nature. That's why I also tell women, do not build a man, do not do the ride or die, because now you're dealing with a completely different entity, right? Yeah. He has a different mindset, a different look, and he's going to want people on that level. And you're just this doting little thing that fixed his wing. Who the fuck stays with the person to fix your wing? The point of fixing your wing is so you can fly away. That's the point of fixing your wing. You don't fix someone's wing so they can stay there with you. Yeah. You fix their wings so they can fly away. And that's why I also advise young women, like, don't do it. It's not work. Don't do it. Move around. I love this, Simeon. This is like the best thing I've heard in a long time. Okay. Simeon said there is no such thing as a masculine woman. When women have to show their teeth, it is called survival. And honey, that is how I felt in those relationships. I felt like I had to up the ante on my survival because I was with somebody that I couldn't depend on.
Okay, right. Well, I'm gonna stick up my little devil horns here.
Uh-oh.
Come on through.
Well, how much of this masculine woman stuff is control issues? And I'm sure you have met them. They are control freaks. Everything has to be done their way. And I think that's a lot more. I think that's a lot. And I think if a dude isn't confident and all that, then if she's a control freak already, it just like takes it to level 30 or whatever. Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, with those, because I have a couple of friends like that, typically, and it's kind of like what Justin said the other day, typically they attract more docile guys that like that because that's their personality, like, period. That has nothing to do with them not feeling safe and things like that. That typically is just, because some people are just more masculine, more feminine. It is what it is, right? So typically those type of control freak ones usually try to get somebody or attract somebody that they can control. And if they do, it usually works out very well.
Yeah. I was like thinking of myself and I was like, well, I'm not like that. That's why we would, like if I was in one, we'd do this, right? And the only way I could see, like if I ever got hooked up with one like that to make it work, is I'd have to demonstrate to her above everything else. It's like there's no question here,
right?
Which
is some sexy shit.
Yeah, and so that's the thing I was thinking about. It's like, well, just don't be kind of keeping it balanced here. There are the control issues where for whatever reason in their life that they felt like they had to. I'll be honest with you. I have control issues because it's like for things that happened way back in the day. I was put it this way. I was expected to be an adult before I became an adult. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so it was like all this shit has to line up. I've got to be right down the line. And so everything has to be in order and all that kind of stuff. And um, but thankfully, I've gotten through a lot of that, most of it.
I think anyone, OG Professional, you saw me on a V Shred commercial? You better not, because I ain't getting no V Shred commercial check.
Listen.
Do you mean InnoSubs? I didn't work for V Shred. I worked for InnoSubs, but I don't know.
I like that last comment. That
Confirm that for me. Confirm that for me, OG Patricia. Maybe it looked like me and it wasn't me.
You might have a check.
Right. People who want to control others are people who cannot control themselves. Meh. Meh.
I don't know.
I'll say this, going back to what George said. Children that go through trauma, right? Children that go through trauma are, especially in toxic environments, dysfunctional parents or households where something happened to them and nobody came to save them, or their parents fighting each other and they felt helpless because they can't do anything about it. If you're a child that grew up in a dysfunctional home or suffered trauma, you're going to grow up and you're going to overcompensate with control because you need to have everything under control because you didn't have control when you were little, and that sticks with you. So now you are hell-bent and making sure you're watching everything and judging everything and making sure that stays over there and that stays over there, because when you were a little kid, there was no control and there was nowhere there to save you. So you become the person that's going to save you no matter what. So sometimes we overcompensate. I know I've been that. I've been very controlling. However, because of my nature, when I've met men who I know have things under control more than I can, then I can relax. But the majority of the time, unfortunately, because I have a strong personality, most men don't match that, right? They're either under it or they're right at it or they don't understand it or they're like, what's going on? This is too much. But if it's a man who's used to being in control and taking care of shit, like I'm not going to be, he's not going to be intimidated by me. But so I don't agree with that. People control others or people cannot control themselves, because that could be a number of different things why people are controlling, but it's usually because you were a child who was you had no control over something that was happening to you. Like I grew up in a very, very violent home, and you just become like, somebody come save me. Why is this happening? Somebody come save me. No one's coming to save me. And then you get older and anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. I need my ducks in a row. I need the towels cleaned a certain way. I put my dishes away this way. I make my bed this way. Like it stays with you unless you do the work to relax, right? You have to connect with the right people. You have to connect with the right people.
That makes sense. The other thing I'm thinking about now too, because we hear a lot of these complaints, and a lot of these guys that in the manosphere, when they complain, it's like they're romanticizing what it was like in the 50s and the 60s and things like that, right?
That's funny.
But yeah, what they fail to realize is women back then typically stayed at home. Okay, they were stay-at-home wives and they had the luxury of doing so. So it's a lot different when you have to get out and work and still be expected to do the things that the women in the 50s and 60s did.
Yeah.
And a lot of us have done it successfully, and spent wills. But you always, when you're doing that, when you're being an entrepreneur or an employee, as well as a wife, and then for some people, mother, you put all three of those jobs up 24/7. Like that's a 24-hour job. You're working 24/7. Okay, all three of those things. That changes a woman, right? And she has to go when she's out in the world. She has to be in her masculine bag a lot of times because she's in the work field that's probably male dominated, and she's just trying to do her thing. So she wants to come home and slip into her femininity and know that you have it. And when she finds out you don't, it's even more, it's even more difficult for her to get over that. And I think that's what people aren't seeing. It's like you all are romanticizing about these times when these women wear the apron and they're just waiting with your apple pie when you come home. And it's like, no, we're probably getting home at the same time. You probably get home before me, and then I'm still rushing home to cook. I got to read a bedtime story. You want your dick sucked. Then we want to, we might have to say a few words, like it's just some things. It's a lot. I got to take a shower, So I think people aren't being realistic. And I think a lot of the men shut themselves up with that, romanticizing something that a time that has gone by. Unless you are in the position for your woman to be able to stay home, then that gives her more time to be in her femininity and to get all the things that you want done. So that's one of the other ways that I feel like they set themselves up as well.
I'll be honest, and I don't care who gets mad at it. Unless you are a man that can live like the men lived in the 50s and you were the breadwinner and paying all the bills, you shouldn't fix your face to ask for any, and a woman be submissive, whatever word you want to put on it, submissive, agreeable. That is not your bag. That is not your box. I don't care.
Can't afford that box.
I don't care who gets mad at it. I don't care who gets mad at it. That is not your box, sir. If you are someone that needs a woman's purse to help pay bills and what have you, then that is not your box. Then you have a different dynamic and you have to accept that dynamic. Now, if you'd like to change that dynamic, there are a lot of women who'd love to stay. I would have loved to stay at home and have babies and have 9, 10 kids. I love children. Back in my 20s, I was like, hey, let's do this. Let's have some babies and I can cook. I love cleaning. I'm ready for it. But how many men are in that position, right, to facilitate that lifestyle? Not many. They want women to do all of that, and then they still want her, be submissive and have a job. And I want to add this little thing to it. Life is hard in general. Life is hard, and that is not gender specific. But what I like reminding men of is that as hard as your life is, you still have the privilege of navigating the world and the planet as a man. Okay. Now, life is hard for everybody, I did say, but I have to navigate the world as a woman. And who's the number one predator of women? Men. Okay. If I'm working in an office, I have to behave. It's a conscious effort every single day when you are a female on the planet to not get assaulted, to not get sexually harassed, to not get paid less than you deserve, to be taken seriously, to think constantly on a loop. I can't wear this. I can't come home at this time of night. I have to, get in my masculine to talk to this man about this project and this project I'm pitching, so he doesn't look at me and just think fucking. It's a conscious effort all the time where men are not doing that 24 hours a day. Men are thinking, if I don't fucking work, I don't fucking eat, right? I got to take care of this family. But women have those things going on. It's just compounded with the dangers of simply being born female. That's right. It. Just running around and with your hair and your makeup and you're a fucking target for some asshole. Like, men don't carry that around. We carry that all the time. And it is exhausting. Imagine waking up and saying, I better not get home, after dark and then go get my car from that garage because men don't think that. Men just walk confidently. Where's my car? Bleep, bleep. Where's the car? And you get in and you go. We're thinking like, is it dark? Is it? And it's a constant. Like, I've dumbed down my my assets to talk to men a certain way because I already know what it's going to be about. Or right. I've purposely even been vulgar to turn men off so they can look at me more as an equal person who's trying to do the same job they're trying to do. Men aren't thinking that. Men aren't walking in a room saying, let me be less of a man so I get taken seriously. It's actually the opposite. But women, it's like, let me just close this shirt up and put the baseball cap on, pull it low, you know what I mean? Get in my stance and turn this guy off so he can see I'm a fucking writer.
Right.
Or I'm a creator. I'm
And
an
don't be
actor.
blessed with a beautiful face and a nice body. I mean, I remember my mother has a BBL body before BBLs, like the good BBL, right? And you know, when women are born with that body, it's actually a lot of times, especially back then, an insecurity to be shapely like that, you know, because she knew that men were not going to take her seriously just because of her body. Like she would, I remember my mother would try to, you know, dumb down her body, which I'm like, girl, I don't know what you're going to do that, but okay, good luck. You know, and I remember just those things as a child. I remember picking up on a lot of everything you just said, Jen, with my mother, with her energy and her worries and her concerns. And I can tell my dad didn't have the same worry. He had his own set, but they were so different from my mother's.
Yeah.
I mean, she's worried about every little hair on our head and every little thing in the house, and then everything with him, and then everything at work with the boss.
And we know where everything is. Like as hard as life, and life is not easy for men. Please don't fucking Gmail me about that shit. Whoever's watching, life is not easy for men. But I'm saying even with life being hard for men, they're still depending on that woman. Honey, where's this? Where did I put my this? Where's that going? What are we eating for dinner? There are a lot of things that men don't have to worry about because women exist. And I want to also qualify something I just said, right? This look, the body, whatever, it's like the religious folks say it's a blessing and a curse. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna use it if it's gonna get me something. Anyone that has privilege is going to use their fucking privilege. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's that you're white. I don't care if it's that you're rich. I don't care if it's that you're attractive. I don't care if it's that you're a tough guy and people fear you. Everyone's gonna use their privilege. With that said, there's another side to it where sometimes I just want to be a fucking normal human being with a pitch deck trying to get a project done with a television executive and not have to dance around all the shit he's gonna say, hinting to wanting to fuck me. Sometimes I just want to be fucking normal, right? and that's hard to do in not only entertainment but in any space, in corporate America. And you know, so it's things that we women still have to navigate as much rights as men say we have. I mean, just recently it's like, oh, you could no longer get an abortion, right? It's like, so men are still running shit.
Including
And I'm not a right, and I'm not an advocate for abortion. I'm an advocate for you should have no say over someone else's body. So I am not in any way, shape, or form promoting abortions, but I don't think it's right that people that you don't know aren't going to face consequences have a right over what you do with your body. That to me is insane.
It is.
That's nutty to me.
It is, because we all have a choice and they should have a choice. Just like if you have a choice to work in the clinic, right?
Right.
Because someone has to work there. So there's people who are choosing to work there and they have their belief system. So if that follows their belief system, then they should be able to go along with their belief system.
Yeah, that's a little nutty.
I know. Let me just say this about abortion. So, as
Let's hear
y'all
it.
speak from my chest, okay?
Okay.
Is that I am like anti-abortion. I'll be honest. And so where the argument comes in about you shouldn't be telling somebody what they can or can't do with their body, I agree with that. And I say, well, then that kid that's in her womb is a separate person, and you know that kid didn't do anything to deserve that. And so I kind of look at it as I just look at the child. And I'll tell you another thing that galvanized me on this. There was a documentary made. I saw this at 12, 13 years old, called Silent Scream. And in there, they showed like a sonogram of an abortion occurring and what happens. And I, right then and there, I said, I don't give a flying fuck. I don't care. I will go to my grave, and no way. I'll never support that. Um,
And,
yeah. And what I'm getting at, and believe me, there's somebody in my family that had one,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Just one person?
I'm about to say somebody.
that I know of. That
Okay.
I know of.
Okay.
And I told them that what I thought about it at the time. But so I have a lot of empathy for women who do that,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that, because I realize part of it is, the whole thing about, especially, this is where I really have a fucking problem with dudes who get them pregnant and then fucking tell them to have an abortion. I'm like, you son of a bitch. You got her pregnant. Now, damn it, you're going to raise that kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, boy, I think about it, I get really charged up about that. But this is where men have failed in this fucking country. Is
Mm-hmm.
they have not stepped up. They have not done it across the board. I don't care what race. I'm not talking about the black community. I'm talking about everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everybody on that. And so I'm even to the point where, hey, look, if it means we got to set up childcare stuff for women, make it like, hey, that the government steps in, gives them. I'm normally like real small government and all that, but I'm like so hardcore. Now, I don't want to say hardcore because I can see that, but I got to logically, when people say, well, what about rape and incest? I'm like, logically, I can't make that exception, only where it's the life of the mother, that's at stake there. So I know I've had women tell me, how dare you, do that, I'm going to go do coat hangers and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, look, calm down. I'm just saying, you got to think about that child. And I just think that that's what we're missing. I think in that whole debate
Mm-hmm.
is about kids. And think about what's happened here in the last.
you know how I feel about that, but okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I can see your eyes get really big now, Lily.
When y'all start bringing the kids, and I start pulling out my cap, because I'm about to throw a cap at you, right?
I mean, yeah. Let's fine. But let me finish off with this.
Okay.
It's that. Um. What was I almost lost? Okay. Go ahead and blast me, Lily. I'll remember what I was about to say. You know how you get the thought and then it like goes out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, this is one thing I like about this panel. We can have this, and we're
I
good.
love it.
And
I love it.
Good.
Yeah, I have to call Cap whenever people bring up the kids, because it's always such a convenient, like, trump card, that like, oh wow, the kids, you're right. What about the kids? It's a damn lie. Because when was the last time anybody who's made that point drove past an orphanage and adopted one of the kids and wants it right now? See, people always care about the kids until they're born. Okay. It's always about the kids until they're born. And don't let them be born gay. Don't let them be born disabled. Don't let them be born, whatever. Like, so we have so many children that people don't care about right now, to be talking about the children that aren't born. You know what I'm saying? So for people to use that particular logic, I always say, okay, put your money where your mouth is, go adopt a kid, and then have that argument. Until then, shut the fuck up. Especially if you're not a woman, right? Because I just feel like it's a woman's issue and a woman's body issue. But even if you take off abortion, let's take off any of that, right? For 2 seconds. For me, I just don't like the government having autonomy over my body or anyone's body. That is a very, 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 very slippery slope. Very slippery slope. Because once you give someone power and control, they're not going to give it back to you. They're going to want more. Right. And I said this when we did the mandates. I was like, oh, you do know this is a slippery slope. You do know they're not going to stop there, right?
Right.
What happened a few months later? Abortion rights. I said, you know what's coming next, right? LGBT rights. What do you see now? They're banning drag queens and stuff now. Like once you give over control like that, and that's what people don't see. They don't see the forest through the trees, right?
You raised a few good points. I got to give that to you, Lily. It's kind of like one of those things. I hear what you're saying, but you know how it is where you can understand what somebody's saying, but you still hold to your position.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just piggybacking off of what Lily said. I mean, we can begin it and end it at you care about these babies, these embryos until they're born. That's really the long and short of it. Also, killing of anything is bad, right? Supposedly, allegedly. But people are very convenient. Like those videos are horrible. I've watched them when I was young too, because my sister had to do a report about abortion and all that. And she showed me the pictures with the little limbs and the teeny little hands and arms, and they ripped the baby apart from the womb. They're horrific, absolutely horrific, right? But I can show you videos of toddlers that look just like that aborted baby that our country went and mutilated and killed and murdered when they was dropping bombs because there was some beef going on, right? And they're dropping bombs on women and children and civilians, right? And these children are torn apart just like an abortion. Their little fingers and toes blown up to bits. But no one is like, hey, no, don't do that. No, it's you have to protect America. You got to protect. So we don't have a problem with murder. We don't have a problem with killing children. It's just when, where, and who's doing it and what's the reason. That's really all it is. Like we pick and choose when murdering children is okay, but there's not a big issue with it. It's just, I saw that video because I've seen those pictures too. They're absolutely horrific. But I've also seen war-torn countries where little babies, children, mothers are gunned down, had bombs dropped on them while they were holding their infants in their arms because, the United States decided, hey, you can't do that to us. We're going to go out there and get you. But again, the long and short of it is if you care about children, you should be out boots on the ground at orphanages, tutoring, mentoring, adopting. Like I need more than, I saw a video and it's kind of gross and I don't think babies should be ripped apart like that. Well, right? There are a lot of kids in the system now that.
I'll tell you, I'm not a fit to be a parent. I'll tell you that right now. Okay.
You don't have no children, George?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I told you a little bit about my story. And
right.
Yeah. So where all that came from. But the thing I will tell you is that I've actually been in Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and I've mentored a young man who's
nice.
He wasn't an orphan, but working with kids and stuff like that. And the point you just raised is I don't know what they call it in debate, but it's kind of like it's where I think you're citing some legitimate points, but it's kind of taking away from what I see as the central issue. And that is that the autonomy of that kid. And so, yeah, but I know y'all brought it up a few times. I'm like, okay, sooner or later, they're going to rope me into this. So I might as well.
No, we have to do a whole topic about it. We could do a whole topic on abortion, get into all the sides of it. Absolutely. I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah.
Simeon Hibbert says there was never a time period like that in the Black community. That is a Kevin Samuels bullshit myth. Women of color always had to work, and the ones who did not were a minority. Where were the Black high-value men in 1962? African Goddess, good to see you. She says, I'm glad the birth rate is going down globally and ladies are smartening up and not creating people anymore. Marco says, dating and abortions are like peanut butter and jelly in 2023.
No, not dating and abortions are like peanut butter and jelly. That is a horrible thing.
Yikes.
They just go together.
Tristan, what's the straw man argument? The Plan B pill, I'm sure, is selling off of shelves.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Taking those like Tic Tacs.
I'm about to say, like, they're probably like getting full. Like, I don't need to eat. I've already got my stomach full. Plan B.
And another thing about those just going back, 'cause I'm sorry, this is a lingering thought. Them children that are born to parents that don't want them
I was just thinking about that.
suffer. They
Yes.
suffer. It's almost like, and this is going to be controversial, abortions are mercy killings.
Right. Right.
Abortions are
I
mercy
disagree. I
mercy
understand why you're
killings.
saying it, but I'm like, no, I can't go there. But what I
I
was
feel
going to
you. I
say
feel you.
earlier is like about the slippery slope argument. Look
Mhm.
what's happened. I remember way back in the day, they said one day they'll be killing kids out of the womb or like
Mm.
at birth. And then what did they do in like Virginia? I think it was like, right up to birth, they can abort the kid. And what do they call them? Um,
I think I've
dilate and extract or whatever it is. Yeah,
something.
and it's like even people who were like y'all were like, no, that's a little
That
bit too
sounds
fucking
brutal.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Like
Jesus.
that's just out of control at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it should be some type of time limit, and then that's when you
No,
get too much.
Right. Yeah.
right. That's why I said we can do a topic on it, because I'm definitely not for, like, you know what I mean. Like there has to be a time limit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do
definitely.
y'all? I've now sometimes now. There's been people to say this, and I'm like, on the surface, it sounds good. Then it's like these women who continually have kids and they're in poverty. They're like, we need to go in there, snip the tubes. And I'm like, well, while you're at it, you go get the dude who got her pregnant and snip his tubes too.
Right.
Because,
Right.
it ain't, and I'm like,
And why is it always on the woman to get her tubes tied? Like, what's up with that? Can we talk about that?
Yeah,
Like,
Right.
why is that so normalized? Like that has always been weird to me, especially because the male's is reversible. Hers is not.
No.
Like, do you remember what Neo did to his ex-wife? He made her get her tubes tied so that she wouldn't have more children, right? And then did he get a vasectomy? I don't remember, but whatever. He dumped her right afterwards, got remarried, and had a child with the new woman right away.
Oh, see that's how people get cut.
That's wrong.
That's how people get cut.
Like,
yeah.
That right there.
And this woman had to deal with this publicly. He did this publicly. Like, this woman had to endure and she was a starter wife. She built him up. She rolled and she died.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just like, when we do these shows, and I know Jen and I, we want to educate like the younger ladies of things, because it is human nature, right? I don't think these men are all evil or anything like that. They want love, they want sex, they want companionship, and they're willing to do it at all costs sometimes, except for getting their money up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes they probably just don't have it just because of the age and they haven't gotten into the career field yet. And so they're like, okay, I'm not in my career field yet, but I'm working on it. And here's this beautiful young lady in front of me. I don't want to lose her. So let me convince her to, help contribute and build with me, right? But like Jen said, I don't think he even realizes that he's going to be a different person when he gets to that destination. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he doesn't. Now we know there are a lot of guys who do know. It's a difference. There's a difference between the two. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to just say like they're all evil and they're just out to destroy women's lives. I think what a lot of people, when they don't know themselves, they unintentionally hurt others.
Yeah, and Lily, what you're talking about, one of the things y'all brought up in the past is about how we're very still in this country, even as sexualized as pop culture has gotten, that it's still kind of like we don't talk to our kids about sex and stuff like that, because I'm a firm believer, just like in gun safety, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You teach this is proven. You teach a kid how to shoot guns and stuff when they're little and what a gun can do. And they're actually a lot more likely to respect it and not mess with it. You talk to a kid about, hey, you go out here and have sex with a girl, get her knocked up, and this is what's going to happen to you. Take them around to the orphanages, take them around and show them, get it in their head and say, you got to be, there's this thing called, you've got your rights, and with rights come responsibilities. And so, that's,
No, I agree.
yeah. And
That was
so,
big in my household. Big, big, big.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why my brother insisted and was very conscious about not bringing children into this world until he
right.
had his career, some savings and some investments, and a wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least someone he knew he was going to make his wife, because it
Right.
doesn't have to. I'm not one of those like, oh, married, children without out of wedlock. Like, I'm not that person, but he
No,
knew
I
I'm
agree
going
with
to
you.
make this woman my wife. I'm, boom,
Right.
boom, boom.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was based off of what you said, George. That was growing up. It was don't bring no babies up in here. Like, you broke. You ain't got no money to take care of no children. What you doing?
Oh, yeah. I'm going back to the dating thing. I was just going to tag on to Lily, when you were talking about women having to get in their masculinity and you started going right down the list, you described my mother.
Mm.
You described my mother. Like,
Wow.
it was like, and I was like, and some of the things that, as she's talked to me now that I'm older, about what happened with her and my dad, and what I kind of see now with her current husband, I'm like, I can see this,
Wow.
and I was like, and also too, about how people, you're right about how dudes, and I've been guilty of this too, about fantasizing about the idyllic 1950s. Okay. Well, I'll tell you from another story. My grandparents, when we would go to my mom's parents' house, um, so we would go in there, and I was like, "Why does Granddad sleep in a different room from Grandma?"
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And my mom, of course, I'm little, and she's like, "Whatever, like, don't worry about it." And I was like, then I got older, and started putting two and two together. Granddad's an alcoholic. Uh, my
She's stuck.
grandmother, yeah, she's stuck, and like, they were married 53 years,
Jeez.
She
and
was stuck.
she lived with all that.
Yeah.
And now, to be fair, it was not all him, there was her too, but
Right.
still, they, in today's world, that would have never flown. They would have split a long time ago, but because of the generation they grew up in, the
Mm-hmm.
greatest generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you just don't get divorced. And so, yeah, so I'm saying that to say, there was probably a lot more families like that in the 1950s.
Yes.
Yes,
There were a lot of women who were stuck.
yeah,
And it was someone who made the point. Not as many black women as white women had that luxury of being stuck, but
you're
there
right
were
about
black
that.
women who were just as stuck, even if she was going out to work. So she may not have been stuck with being a housewife type stuck, but she was still stuck and had to go to work
Yeah,
as a
that
black
point.
woman or
Yeah, that
a
point.
black woman.
I forgot who mentioned it in the chat, but yeah, that was a good point. Because I hear there's plenty of stories out there about black women having to be the nanny, go out here and work. In fact, it's a wonderful life. Who's the maid in the house is a black woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about, yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was like, yeah, they had it like double tough on that, because the social conventions at the time, and then also just the way the uh, societal racism that was going on then. Um, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, my neighbor across the hall, she's a nanny and she's raising her niece. So think about that. She's with these people's children during the day, and she has to come home and raise her niece and do the cooking, the cleaning, the homework, the showers, the bathing, putting her to bed and waking her up in the morning and getting her ready. And then you see and then you add a man on top of that. And she's like, alleviate some of the stress off me. Like, I need you to think. I just need you to think. How about that?
No,
Just
ma'am.
think.
No,
Yeah,
ma'am.
well, my mom goes on about my stepdad doesn't help her around the house and all that, and and he's in. They kind of. My mom was born in 45, so early baby boomer, all that stuff. But she, you know, I just think about her, and it bothers me, and I talk to her a lot and everything. Um, But yeah, when you went down that, Lily, and you just rattled that off, I was like, wow, she just described my mother like to almost to a T. And so the reason she used to stay home with me when I up till about I was 5, and because my dad, he was in a job that he would, he was in construction, he was a welder and all that stuff. Well, he would get laid off, and then when he got laid off, he wouldn't go get another job. So then you know what happened, because then you put the squeeze on the family. Well, my mom says, fuck this shit, I'm going to have to go get a job because we can't live like this. And so that after she did that, I'm thinking when she went to work, that marriage lasted 5 years
Right.
after that. And then
because the resentment started with the application.
Mhm.
Okay.
The morning she got dressed for the interview, Lily. The morning.
She started keeping score that morning, baby.
But you see, that's why a lot of women, I think that women are dealing better with the evolution of it's no longer the 1950s. I think women are dealing with it better than men are dealing with it. Because men are like, oh, and women are like, okay, I'll just get a job. And oh shit, I can have my own place and I can have my own car and pay my, oh, wait a minute. So I could have did this all along. All right, cool. And then here comes this guy. And like you mentioned before, George, if he's not on the level or higher, women are opting out of that situation because a man, sorry to say, guys, is a burden. I mean, it's a great company, sex, great, but it's a burden because automatically you're going to go into that role of cooking and cleaning all the time and making sure you look cute and sex and it's a burden. And now women are, I mean, like I said before, the vibrators are advanced, so a woman is kind of like, do I use this rose tonight and cook myself a little TV dinner and Netflix and chill, or do I have this ogre who's yelling at the TV because he's watching sports and I got to wash extra clothes and his clothes is big, and then he may want to have sex tonight, and if I don't have sex with him, he's gonna cheat. Like, it's a lot that goes into being with the man. Men think no son fácil. Like, men are not easy.
And especially if he's got skid marks in his underwear. Boy,
there you go.
There you go. Skid marks and farting and all kind of shit.
Yeah.
There you go. So
Yeah.
you have to be, when and if I indulge again, if I indulge again, that man's going to have to be like dynamic. Like, forget, aside from, muscles and money, he has to be super fucking interesting. He has to be worth the trouble. That's all I mean. He has to be worth the trouble.
I certainly don't want to get in your head here, Jen, but probably in your 20s, muscles and money might have done it for you. But you're just talking it now as a woman who's pretty mature, has been through a lot. So
muscles and money back then did do it for me. Like, my first long-term relationship, he was a competitive bodybuilder. Okay. And he had money. Mm-hmm. That was my first relationship. I was like 17. Mm-hmm. And that was the boyfriend. He had 3 cars, a Taurus, a Sidekick Jeep, a Ford Taurus, and a Mercedes Benz. Okay. Had his own condo. And I was 17 living like this. And he was a competitive bodybuilder. So that was my first experience, right? Being with, he ended up being my father's child and all of that. We were together 13 years, longer than most marriages.
Right.
And I was snugly in my little feminine frying pork chops at 17 years old. So, would it still work for me today? Yes, temporarily, because those guys are fun. But yes, you need to have a conversation as well. There, you want to talk about politics and love and relationships and community and what you saw on Netflix, and you want to, So I'm a different woman now. But the guy would just have to be, fun and dynamic. He'd have to have something to him.
Right.
Something for me for it to be worth the trouble, because men are trouble. I know women get a bad rap for being pains in the ass, but men are trouble as well. Yeah. Men are, you gotta take care of men.
It's very true. And I'm listening, I'm thinking, because my parents been together forever. Mm-hmm. And my dad was always, been a provider. And he was one of those that thought, as long as I provide, like, why are you bothering me? Right. And he was even like that with us. Like, with the children. Like, why are you talking to me? Like, I provide for you. What do you want from me? Didn't I give you some money? You know. Um, and so, you know, he didn't help with cleaning around the house and all that. No cooking. I never saw him cook, right? But I guess, you know, they stayed together long enough and they figured it out and created new dynamics. And now he cooks some nights and he's a good cook. And he bakes. I'm like, you bake?
Okay.
Where was this when I was a kid? You know?
Right. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is like, he's literally a whole different person now. Like,
Right.
whole different person. I don't think he was good with kids per se. He's just better with adults. Because it was like, as soon as we turned 18, he was like our best friend. But before that, we really didn't have, like, he was just in the house. He was always present. He was always there. But it wasn't really much. It was
It's the same. It's the same with my dad, and men back then were just built different. Like I've never, and not that I should have, but I've never in my life seen my dad cry. Ever. I mean, not at funerals, not when his mama died. My dad, I mean, he's like walking, talking, you know, stoic.
Yeah.
Right? He thinks that cemeteries are a waste of fucking plot and land, and you can be building shit there that's useful. You know, I remember I had an issue with a pregnancy. He was like, well, you might as well get an abortion because, you know, there's no use in having a sixth baby out here in the world. Like my dad's very cut and dry, very black and white. There's nothing there. Yeah, very, 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 you know what I mean, provider, protector like a mug. My father would take the head off of anybody for us. But just, you know, men back then weren't like people person. They weren't for the children. Men back then weren't for the children. They just weren't like, hey, let's go throw a football.
Did my dad serve in the military at any point?
No, but he went to prison, kind of like the same.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, it's like dudes who like went to war, saw combat, all that kind of stuff. It's like, you know, they saw people die. So it's kind of like, you know, they come back with a really hard exterior and all that kind of stuff.
Well, he saw someone die. Yeah.
In his military experience.
Yeah, there you go. And also his brother, who they were joined at the hip. His brother got murdered at a family party and they witnessed that. So, you know, my dad went through some things. When he was one of 13 kids in Puerto Rico and just rough stuff, rough stuff. So, you know, that kind of like, you know what I mean, gives you armor too. You're out in the world now and it's like you're not emotional about shit because of things that you've seen and experienced and been through. But back then men were very, very stoic, very strong, silent, bring home the bacon and, you know what I mean, do it the next day. And, you know, my mom was super subservient. My mom was like, oh, my Holly homemaker, Puerto Rican Holly homemaker.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I used to look at how my mom used to do things. I just look back and I'm like, how? Like, oh my God.
Those meals, my goodness.
Just the meal. I mean, just so many things. I just look back and I'm just like, how did she do that? Like, it is crazy. It's a whole different breed of woman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, the women today?
They're not doing it.
No, they're not doing it. Tristan, hell with your football. Hell with your football, Tristan. Tristan's a leave football on fucking sports.
I'll tell you this. As y'all were talking about relationships, I know of one. It's my uncle Steve and his wife Aunt Maddie Jo. You know, so she was a school teacher, but you talk about and she worked. But here's the thing. He was like, this dude, put it this way, when he died, he was like worth millions. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so what he did is like, he worked at a Quaker State, went up the corporate ladder, left that, became a real estate land developer, sold land and plots and all that kind of stuff. He was really good at making money, opened up a business for selling, this is in Mississippi, so they're selling tractors and all that kind of stuff, you know. But the dude, And then whenever the cell, they were put in cell towers all across the nation and stuff. I forgot who it was. Verizon or one of them came to him and said, "We'd like to put a cell phone tower on your land, and we'll give you so much money to lease the land from you, and you get free cell phone service for for the rest of your life or whatever." I mean, this dude was, what I'm getting at is that he like really built his, you're talking about a value man. That was it. That dude. I had a lot of respect for him. And I lived with him for 6 months. And I tell you this, I told him right before he died, I said, I wish that they had left me up here with you, because I know I would have been so much better off. But anyway, but that dude right there, that's what you're talking about, Jen, about, hey, somebody stepping up to the plate. That's who I think about now. I just
Oh,
thought,
wow.
Yeah, they definitely exist, and I always want to be very clear of coming from me. That's what I know. That's all I know personally in my life, in my vicinity with Black men. The Black men I know are providers. They take care of their home. I don't know any deadbeat Black men, right? Because I don't hang out with that type of quality of people,
Well,
right?
I know a lot of them, but I don't mess
Well, I'm
with
talking
them.
about hanging out, like my
Oh
vicinity.
yeah, no.
Yeah, my immediate vicinity, like not my family or my friends or anything like that. But yeah, that's why I'm like, they exist. Like, people like to make it like they don't, But oh, to the comment, U.S. dating. If he didn't answer it, the only thing I can think of about U.S. dating shifting to being like becoming more like Japan ways of
Yeah, what's
dating.
that about?
The only thing I can think of that I've read about them in the dating is that they've just opted out of having children. These young people in Japan, they are not interested. I didn't like dive deep into it, but that's pretty much the gist of it, and that's why their population has completely like really slowed down to a screeching halt, because they refuse to have children. And the reason why is because of the economy. They're like, why? Like, I'm barely making it on my own. So why bring another human into this world for me to struggle even more?
Wait a minute. Are they using common sense over there?
Well, that's out of America. So we're don't ask for too much now. We're just, I mean, we can implement it slowly but surely, probably, but that does require common sense, and we're not that big on
common sense. If you can't afford a child, don't have one. Eureka.
That's what I read. That's as much as I know. But I wanted to know if he was going to add to that.
Shifting into Japan's ways of thinking. Okay, I see the comment now you're talking about. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was curious about that too. I was like, what are they doing over there in Japan?
Yeah, I think I'm going to look into it even more just to see. But I do know that they were, I saw it last year, I think, that the government is just like kind of begging them to have children at this point, because they're like, for what? Like, we could barely live, But, that's one thing I do like about here in this neighborhood that I live in. It's the multicultural neighborhood. One thing that I quickly realized moving here, it shifted my attitude about some things. This is not, now what I'm about to say, this is not for everybody, because everyone's family is not the same. Okay. But I live around a lot of people. Like, basically, when I first moved into on this block, I was the only single person on the block. It was all multi-generational living. Everybody was so
in fact, multi-generational, like it used to be a long time ago.
Right. But I live around a lot of immigrants and things like that as well. I mean, some of them, so like you have the grandmother, the son, and the grandchild, and maybe another one, right? But it's usually about 3 generations in each apartment, right? And grandma's probably was born in whatever country and lived most of her life there. Then the daughter probably lived half and half, and then the youngest was born here, right? And so after like just talking to them and seeing how they do things, coming from the Black culture, like I know with us, it was always this like, you're 18, you're grown, or I can't wait to be 18 and be grown so I can be up out of here. Or your parents are like, well, not, once you 18, you can do whatever you want. And it was always that like, that you can leave at 18, and it was always like you wanted to. You know what I'm saying, Jen?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to when I moved here and started talking to a lot of these people, that is not their mindset. They're not rushing out of no house at no 18 years old just to say I'm grown and I can smoke some weed. Like, they have a plan. Like, the plan is to stay at home, either go to college or go to school, save your money, then start dating. Right? You can
Mm-hmm.
date, meet someone, start courting, dating, and all of that stuff. And then if you decide you're going to get married, usually they'll get married and stay with one or the other's family for like the first years while they save up money to go move and buy a place. Because that way they're leaving out in a springboard better than the generation before. Like and I was like, wow, like that's just a whole different mindset. Just that mindset alone changes the whole game. Because just rushing out, and I say, I've always said this, I don't have many regrets in my life or many mistakes. I really wouldn't ever take anything back, right?
Right.
Just hypothetically, that the biggest thing I messed up at was rushing out at 18. You're not prepared. You're just not prepared. You're not grown. Right. But you couldn't have convinced me that at 18. So
Right.
I'm not gonna sit here and try to convince an 18-year-old that they're not.
Right.
But just hindsight. I look back. My mother actually didn't want me to leave. She was talking shit. She was talking shit the whole time. The whole 17 years she was talking shit. Right. And then I turned 18 and I'm like, peace. And she's like, whoa, wait, hold.
Right.
Like, you're not ready. And I'm like, but I've been hearing that this is the date. Like, this is the time. I can do it now, right?
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, listen, in our culture, it's like, you 45, you can still be here. It's okay.
Yeah. Not in my, what's interesting at least I'll just speak to my family, it used to be that way, multi-generational, but it's kind of like, as I guess, as more people whites got into the middle class. And so it became like, hey, I can afford a house and all this, and we don't need to live together anymore, all that kind of thing. And in that process, I think something was broken, in which is this intergenerational continuity that you get with them in the house or being very near each other. And so, this is just kind of like my take. I don't know if we need to go back to that or not, but.
Oh, but you know what? I feel like we're on our way back, and it's not going to be voluntary. The way this economy is going, mark my words. Remember, I said that on this day. I've been seeing it coming for I was like, okay, I see some people moving in with grandma moving in with her son and helping take care of the grandchildren and things like that, because the way this economy is going, and it's not necessarily a bad thing if you all can live with each other.
If you can get along. Hey, I met a family from Pakistan. I worked in Expo, and I met a family from Pakistan, and they got generations and generations. They all live together. Even when they marry, they are together. I was like, wow, it's amazing. But
it's the Waltons.
From what I saw, they got along famously from what I saw in person. So maybe they just have, just culturally, what I mean? Their upbringing is different. Their culture is different. Their environment is different. Listen, we'd kill each other here.
Right.
We would kill. I don't like your wife. Fuck that. It'd be a mess. It'd be a mess.
Now we did it actually. Well, yeah, we did it. The early years of my life. It was my parents, and then my mom's sister, my dad's brother. Yeah, they almost killed each other plenty of nights, okay? Plenty of nights. It was just like violent. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. And they were young, and it was a lot going on. I'm like, Lord. Yeah.
I know. Growing up, my grandma's house was a war zone. I mean, literally, literal war zone. Like it was
Plate,
terrible. I'm like,
plates
er,
and silverware flying.
plates,
Right.
silverware flying. Yeah, you get
Yeah.
just like that. Really, really nuts. Very nuts. But survived it all
Well,
good.
ladies,
He just
I'm gonna
answered
have
it.
to talk. Hmm?
He just answered the question, I think. Let's see.
Marcos Orlando TV says monogamy and marriage are often thought to be less important in Japan. People prefer prostitution and entertainment. Decreased sex drive in the 21st century in Japan, causing decline in their population.
Interesting.
I
Holy
heard about the sex drive too. Because don't they have
very
like,
interesting.
they have, if I'm not mistaken, they have the, almost like they're big on like the sex dolls and stuff like that.
So
Like,
do you think that that's happening here, seeing
I
as
do.
like these sex dolls are getting sold and men are preferring prostitutes and things like that?
He's
Maybe
right.
it's
He's when he broke it down like this. I mean, it does sound like we're moving in that direction.
hmm
But with the birth rate is down all over the world. But yeah, it sounds like we are definitely moving in that direction because the sex workers are on the rise, dealing with social media and OnlyFans and whatever else they can get their hands on. Which
I just want to be a sex worker for one man. Can I be a sex worker for one man?
right, just one good man. That's it. I will be a sex worker.
I want to be a sex worker for one man. Can I do that, please?
We
Okay,
on nasty free. They cooks
that cooks.
and
That's
clean.
all. Right. And you don't live with your sex worker. You see
You
her
don't.
every now and then. Come on, guys.
Let me see. If
Work with me here.
well, see, no, I'm not going after that because that's a hard one. I'm not like I'm about to take Young Miami's position, but I rethought about that. No,
Ooh,
no, thank
no.
you. I can't even. That's just. Did you see what
Amen.
she posted? She was because I think he demoted her. Like he demoted her cost. Like he was giving her $500,000 a month or something, and now he took it down to half. I'm like, well, inflation, Young Miami. The economy's a little rough, And she was
Wait,
complaining.
Diddy was giving her money?
Yeah, he pays her every month. He pays her to be his girlfriend.
That's nuts.
And then she was mad because he brought down what he was paying her per month. He brought down the budget, and she wrote this. This was her word. She was like, $250. You still want me to pretend to be your girlfriend? $250,000.
Why would Diddy pay that girl to? That's weird. Like the chick he just got pregnant is 10 times better looking than she is.
It's not even the looks. I think with Young Miami, I think it's the
because she could keep him in the blogs.
He has Peter Pan syndrome.
A lot of press, right? It's a lot of press.
Mm-hmm. And he has Peter Pan syndrome, and she gives him access to the newness and the new energy because he's like an energy vampire. He gives me energy vampire.
Yes. Oh yes.
Yeah.
He's like Big Red in the movie 5 Heartbeats.
Mm-hmm.
That's that I've always seen him like that. Like, what's popping? I want some of that.
Right.
Doesn't matter what age it is or what gender.
No.
Is it popping?
Is it popping?
Yep. I need a piece of that.
Yes. That's what
I would. He's the type you shake his hand, you better count your fingers when you pull back.
Honey, like
I hear you, love. I'll do a topic about that. I hear you. That's the interesting information. Thank you for that information. I didn't do that. I didn't know that. The Black and Brown Coalition.
Oh wow, yes. Yeah, we can do that.
For sure.
We got any more for this topic, or we good?
I'm good, Lily.
This has been a good one.
Oh
George.
yeah,
it's been a good one.
Thank you so much, you, George.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for adding and contributing everything you guys did, because I'm a little off right now.
Yeah. No, listen, I was like that all week last week, and Jen, you held it down, so I'm like, I shut back. So I'm like, girl, I got you tonight. That I was brain fog all last week. Y'all had no idea. Well, Jen does, but I was going through it. It was a bad week. So, but this is what we do.
I need some tea and some sleep. I got a long day tomorrow.
Jen, take some zinc.
Yeah.
I don't think I have zinc in the house right now. I can get some tomorrow.
And where I got it from is I have sleep apnea. So anyway, I go to the pulmonologist, and she's over the ICU at the local hospital here where I live. And I said, well, how are you not getting COVID or whatever? She said, well, I take zinc. I take a tablet every day, and
No, it's true.
And
I was taking
I have not had a cold, nothing.
I haven't had a cold in 10 years until I told Jen the reason why I got sick this time, I started slacking. And that was the first thing I started slacking on my supplements.
Mm-hmm.
That will do it every time. I'm telling you, them supplements will keep that shit away from you.
Yeah, I was taking
it was like I'm gonna make up for lost time.
Right, that's what happened to me. It made up for lost time. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking daily the elderberry with the zinc. It was a zinc elderberry combo, and I liked it, but I ran out, so I got to get some more.
I'm gonna send you a good combination. Like it's a bunch of good stuff just in one bottle, so you have to get a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah, because right now I'm like, I do vitamin E's, I do beauty pills, I do my 1-a-days, I do the vitamin E, the vitamin B, and was it a vitamin B? And the little tiny
tablets.
Yeah.
So the one I'm gonna send you, it has D3, zinc.
That's what I take. Yeah, the little D3. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But it's all like separate pills.
Yes, this is all gonna be in one. It's ginseng, D3, quercetin, and zinc together are magical. They're like best friends. Yeah.
Send me a screenshot of it, and I'll grab it from Amazon.
Yep. Yeah, I'll just send you the link because I'm always buying it from there. That's where I get mine from, and it's inexpensive.
Yay! I like inexpensive.
Oh, you know how we do, Jen. We don't play with games.
I do not.
No.
Lily, get back. If you're not on, get back on your zinc, Lily.
I'm back on. I'm back on everything. Okay. Yeah, I almost got back on crack. Okay. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Getting back on everything to avoid the vid.
Okay. Like whatever.
We have to avoid the vid.
Babe, I don't know is something going on around here in New York that they're not naming. Everyone's being vague about it, but baby, when I tell you, we were good on Saturday night. I think it was the last time I seen you, and I ended up in the emergency room after the show, like literally feeling like I was about to die. Like it kept feeling like it was going in waves. Like it didn't feel like it was going away, and then it'd come back, and then it'd go away, and then when it came back that night, it was like, pow. And
yeah, that's why I told you take a COVID test, because that's when I had COVID. Oh my goodness!
But it's not COVID. It was 3 nurses from the doctors today said they just got over the same thing.
See, we don't know what's out here, Lily. We don't know what the fuck is out here. They just
keep your immune system up. Drink your water. I've actually been on a raw fruits and vegetable diet. I detox my body, and honestly, to be real with you, since the detox, I've only been craving raw fruits and vegetables and nuts. That's the only 3 things I've been eating, and that's all I want. So, but how did I gain 8 pounds, y'all? Sick and not eating.
That water? Were you drinking a lot of water?
Chocolate covered?
Don't try me, but not this week. I was being good this week, but no, I got the chocolate covered ones, George. But I save them for when I feel better. But no.
Oh, I thought we were being real freaky. I was like, we're so far away from Friday. Talking about chocolate covered nuts. I thought we were talking about something else. See where my mind was?
No. You on Friday. We still got a few more days to go, Jen.
All right. All right, guys. So we are out of here. Same bat time. Mañana we'll bring another juicy topic to you. Don't forget on the block with Jen at Gmail for your topic suggestions. We welcome them. Okay. Don't forget you can support the show. Cash App on the block with Jen. And you can reach me at on the block with Jen, all social media platforms. Lily, plug your shit. Let people know where to find you.
You can find me on all things YB Limited. That's the letter Y. The letter B is in boy. The word limited. It's a question. Why be limited? All right. So that's on Instagram, Facebook. What's the other one we're using? TikTok, and here on YouTube. So come check me out. I'll be glad to have you.
It's right there on the screen. YB limited. And we got an upcoming fight with George Cook when we do our abortion topic. You ready,
yeah.
Georgie Porgy?
Oh man, I better put on some steel underwear for that one. So you guys are gonna like light me up. So
Which one is that one?
huh?
Which one is that one?
The abortion one.
Oh yes, yeah. It's gonna be fun.
I love you guys. I say that I really have grown to appreciate you, both of you, and Haran and all that. This
Thank you.
and I keep saying this, but I don't see any other channel doing what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So anyway, but Lily, you're great. Just some of your insights and everything. It's the kind of interaction that I like. It's like, damn, she just said something that I need to think about.
Isn't it refreshing to be able to have a conversation and vehemently disagree, and then it's okay?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
you don't
okay.
have to agree.
Okay, man. You guys are cool. Okay, I'm out. I'll see
All
you
right.
guys tomorrow.
Good night, George.
Good night.
Thank you for the last super chat of the night. Don Levon says, Lily, do you have an acting reel? Lily is working on her acting reel. All right, guys. Thank you so much for holding me down in the chat. Mama has to take care of her throat now. Do you guys like my tan? I've been tanning. Do you like it? Do you like it? All right. All right, guys. See you mañana. Don't forget to follow me on social media. It's always popping. All right, guys. Good night.